Hi, Kitya. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Ellen. Take three. Take three. Take three. You're all peaches. Peaches and cream with sugar on top. I am going to cut out the beginning of this. Hey, everybody. Thanks. We'll start again. Begin again. Begin again. Colleen, Diana, Ellen, Gertrude, and thanks, Gertrude, for the phone call. I think that was you. Candyman, Diana, David, Michael, Colleen. You can hear me now. All right, so I'm going to wait a moment and see if we're almost up to 22 again, which is where we were when I had to last say goodbye. I oddly canceled us. So thanks for liking the video that has not even aired yet and given you so much trouble this morning. Anyway, so this is what comes when you get too much going on in your life and you're trying to get everything done. Me. This is what happens to me when I have too much going on in my life and I'm trying to get everything done. Yes, a sound check is a good idea. It's definitely a good idea. Thank you. True. Absolutely. All right. So give me a second here. Wait for, pull this out of the way. Ready to begin again? Hey, Roy. Thanks, everybody. It was nice, though. Thanks. Lots of love. Thank you. Thanks for everybody putting up with me again. Oh, we got more folks coming in, so I'll wait a moment. We love you anyhow. Thanks, Nancy. Thank you. It is embarrassing. And yeah, so let that be a lesson to you. Mysticism does not prevent embarrassment. It sometimes creates it. No, it doesn't create it. I create my own. But here we are. Okay. Oh, Maggie's in Iona. Excellent. Good to feel that. All right, here we go. Gonna begin again. Take it from the top. Here we go. You made me laugh, Michael. Michael said it was my mime version, the previous version. Now it's deleted forever, and thank you for all being here. Oh, got a mosquito in the studio. Can't have that. Sorry, little fella. Carry diseases around here. Luke 12, 32 to 40. It's heaven's great delight. Namaste and peace. And welcome to Not Church. I'm Pete, Peter, Pierre, Pedro, Petros, Cephas, Simon, Panagore. Lots of nicknames in my life. 2-time near-death experiencer, and not one of them is my name. I've never been a believer since the first day I died, but I am consistently a knower. Capital K, Yale Divinity School, ex-clergy, ex-TV writer, host, and storyteller. Jesus was a storyteller. We'll hear from him in Luke 12, 32 to 40 today. For 2,000 years, the church has forked it up. The world is full of division, much of it religious. It has only one chance at unity. The universal inner light. It's the only chance we've ever really had for global peace. This inner light, millions and millions and tens of millions of NDEs are being raised from the dead. We're all carrying this extra dose. Everybody has it inside them anyway. It's who you are. The devil's deal in 325 at the Council of Nicaea between the Roman Emperor Constantine and the Christian bishops empowered the church and united it with the state, depowering the mystical light of truth carried. The bishops made Jesus into God. This was never his own message. He never said this, not about himself. Instead, he pointed us toward our inward, to what is commonly called Christ consciousness or higher consciousness or cosmic consciousness, ineffable, experiential, living presence. In Luke, he said, make your eye single and your body will be filled with light. He said, light is within you, us. The light is you, is us. Near-death experiencers say similar things because we experience the same or similar things, which is no thing at all, which is the light itself, the uncreated. Jesus never elevated himself. Instead, he humbled himself because he had mystical experiences of transcendence. Maybe you've had mystical experiences of transcendence. Maybe that's why you're here this morning. You've likely experienced a spiritual awakening, or you maybe live with the struggle of seeking the mystery. Maybe this is because you've had a visitation from the dead, or you had a divine experience of out of body, or maybe you're a near-death experience, or maybe Jesus came and visited you, or an angel, or another entity of light, and it changed you. And now you seek this thing that can't be said. This is not church, where we look at the mystery, capital M. Mysticism, no doctrine, no dogma, no Bravo Sierra. Biblical and Christian deconstruction to help you free your mind, heart, and soul from the prison of theology. Understood through the lens of my born mystical life, and then reborn and reborn professionally, I unpack the symbolic meanings of Jesus' teachings of the uncreated light as found hidden in his words. Hidden in his words. I speak the light universal, mysticism, with a Christian accent. Please subscribe and like this video, especially if you're still here with me this morning and been following my work. It helps with the YouTube's algorithms. I will entertain questions and comments from the chat at the end of my talk. Relationship matters more than knowledge. Centering meditation aimed at the beloved opens the heart. When our hearts are open, we meet the I am who I am in silence, in the now, the isness in the now, the being in the now, your beingness. So let's turn on our lights, stoke our fires. We're going to do, as we always do, 3 ohms with a breath, vibrating here, vibrating here, vibrating here. 5, then 5 centered breaths. And beginners, if you're just joining us here this morning, which maybe you are, breathe in through your nose and out and down into your belly with focused concentration. And as you breathe in, maybe repeat in your mind, I am loved, as your prayer mantra. And when your mind wanders, go back to your prayer, follow your breath. And everybody else, from the third eye to the pit of your belly, breathe with me, and we're going to stoke our bellies this morning with prana, with chi, with fire. Okay? Follow my breath. Here we go. Hands. It's heaven's great delight to give you heaven's great delight to give you heaven now, here and now. If you've ever had a near-death experience or a visitation from the dead, it's the great delight. If you've ever had a visitation from God in any form and light in any form at all, it's a taste of heaven's great delight. Let's unpack this today. It's heaven's great delight to give you heaven. Luke 12:32-40, and how it relates to Thomas 21-37 from last week. So don't be afraid, little flock. Jesus, the enlightened teacher, said to his close and few followers, it is heaven's great delight to give you. Look at the present tense. It is heaven's great delight, is to give you, present tense, now, the isness now. It is heaven's great delight to give you, here, heaven's great delight now. If you've ever felt it here, among us, it's because as a community, we pull the light into ourselves and share it between us. We welcome everyone who wants that and has light to give away, or wants to find the light to give away, who wants to find the light to find their way home to heaven here and now and later. It gives itself away, capital I, capital I. It gives itself away. The king, sticking with the metaphor, the king happily gives away that which makes him king. Think about that. Giving away that which gives him power. This is a metaphor. Please pardon the patriarchy, please. But here is a paradox. If the queen gives away her queendom, is she still the queen? If the queen gives away all that makes her queen, is she still queen? Castles and soldiers and countries. In heaven, yes. How do we get the queendom? Beginning again. Beginning again, born again, being. We be, being, isness now. Being again. Going back to your original self. Being your being again. The isness now. That's how. Where'd she go? The mystical geniuses in the history of Christianity and around the world, that's how they do it. Maybe the mystical geniuses are natural born, who then use their intellect to hone themselves into a position of being able to have the union experience. But union is not the only experience. There is the quietude, the centering silence of the self, and the radiance that you feel, that we feel. There is this, and this is heaven here now. Jesus says metaphorically, don't be afraid, little flock. He says that kind of literally, don't be afraid, little flock, but everything else is metaphor. Don't be afraid of losing yourself. It's heaven's great delight to give you heaven here now. So sell your possessions, give up your self-identity, and give to those in need. What is more valuable a possession than your identity? When I died, I lost my identity. Every mystical experience I've had, I've lost my identity. And I've been born again and again and again. Each mystical experience makes us born again, changes the course of our lives because it reorients our interior world back to the origin of ourselves. Sell your possessions, give up your self-identity, and give to those in need. This will store up love treasure for you and heaven. This will store up love treasure for you and heaven. I know this. Why do you think near-death experiencers are so convinced? Because we know the treasure of heaven in heaven is heaven. We know this to be true. And that's why I'm here speaking to you. Because you've tasted this. You've glimpsed this yourself. This will store up love treasure for you in heaven, and the purses of heaven will never get old or develop holes. They are timelessness. The purses of heaven will never get old or develop holes, so your wealth, capital W, your wealth will be safe. No stealers can steal it, and nothing can destroy it. Why do you think NDEers behave the way we do? Because we know that nothing can destroy it or us. I am immortal. I am immortal. And I know this. Mystical geniuses know this. Near-death experiencers know this. So wherever your heart is where your treasure is. So wherever your treasure is, there your heart will be. Heart and treasure, put them in the same place. Surrender your false self. This is what Jesus told us. What stood in my way after I died? What stood in my way? What was in my way? I had this veil under which I was living, like everybody in the world, but I also knew that at the core of myself, I was originally goodness, my original goodness, my golden light. I saw this inside myself shining, but it was fuzzed out. And what stood in the way? Well, I listened to Jesus, make your eye single and your body will be stilled with light. And I listened to the mystical geniuses, Evelyn Underhill talks about, and it turned out to be me. I'm in my own way. Who stands in my way but me? I stood in my own way. So I learned to move aside through the practice of sidestepping. Ha, ha. I learned to move aside through a practice of sidestepping. That's what practice is all about. That's what meditation is all about. That's what getting into the flow is all about, stepping aside. And how long does it take? What do you think? Well, you get gifts along the way. There are many gifts along the way, but how long do you think it takes? And what stands in your way between you and the mystery? The mystery. The capital T, capital M. What stands between you and the mystery who calls you? Well, it turned out to be me, so I followed my teacher's advice and I gave up my most valuable possession, my false self-identity. And I'm still giving it up. I'm still giving it up. But I entered into what Jesus called the kingdom, the realm, the higher dimension, the cosmic constant. That's where this path leads. So how do you stop your false self from telling you who you are and what to do and how to live? How do you control your monkey mind? How do you silence the tape loops of self-degradation, those negative thoughts and every thought and all thought? And then find the quietude, the silence, the peace which is within. Find the peace, the quietude that leads to union. And whether you have union in this life, it's guaranteed in the next. It's guaranteed in the next when you put your treasure there. And you don't have to meditate. Really, truly, you don't. It just makes here heaven. And that's fabulous. All you need to do really is just love. That's it. Love, live kindly, and remember that we act out of the treasure of our hearts. Minus, of course, DNA and circumstances and all the other things of life. But you know a mean and angry person when you meet them. Their heart is dark. They live wounded. They live from their wounds. Only the light can heal the inner wounds. And only the light can heal our body of humanity. And we have an opportunity now because of the great global awakening that is near-death experience and the measure of science. Science is raising the dead. We look at that in the IANS group coming up, ians.org. Listen, inner peace leads to union here or in the next life. The only way out is in. Luke's passage continues with an abrupt change of symbols, showing that these are separate sayings shoehorned together by the writer. Jesus said, be like, notice the simile, be like servants dressed for service and keep your lamps burning. This is what we tried to do in the meditation. I tried to help you find how to burn your lamp in your belly. Keep your lamps burning. As though you were waiting for your boss to return from the wedding feasts. Notice this in the saying. It's wedding feasts. It's not a wedding feast. This guy's been partying at multiple weddings from the wedding feast, or maybe it's feast after feast after feast after feast. It's plurality. It's wedding feasts. This guest comes sated. This master comes sated with, filled with food of heaven. Heaven is rich in feasts, rich in the best feasts, the food of the soul. Then, if you keep your lamp burning, Jesus continues, keep your lamp burning and be attentive. When you keep your lamp burning, you'll be ready to open the door to let him in when he arrives and knocks. This is all about getting ready for this to enter in. Blessed are the servants who are ready and waiting for his return, especially if they stay awake through the long night. They will be rewarded. I tell you the truth. He will sit them down, put on an apron, and serve them as they eat and sit. He may come in the middle of the night or just before dawn. You don't know when he's coming. But whenever he comes, he will reward the ready servants. If you want a heavenly reward now, here, if you want to carve your way back to it, make yourself permeable to it, and the here and now and later. Of course, it's about later. It's about after death, too, because there's a continuation. There is no ending of yourself. There's a journey of yourself. And while we're here now, I work on putting light gems into myself. Opening myself to allow the light gems to enter into me. I empty myself. I let the gems acquire themselves inside of me, accumulate inside of me. That's how to collect them, by getting out of the way. If you want a heavenly reward now and later, be prepared and stay attentive. Do you want to awaken? Are you seeking enlightenment? Do you want to grow and trust toward faith, or open yourself to the potential of mystical experiences? And this is what this leads to. Potentiality. The potentiality of mystical experiences. And maybe you've been practicing for a long time and you've never gotten one. Well, I don't know why that is, but I do know this, that the more layers you pull away from the veil, the more light can penetrate. It takes a lifetime of practice. I know I had a head start, a big head start, but I have practiced the same techniques myself in order to do the same thing. Light your lamp and keep it lit. It's super simple. light your lamp and keep it lit. Be ready for the open door at any time. The willing and ready servants are rewarded by the big boss, who is so pleased she makes the servants sit down and she serves them. The big question is, how do we do this? Ancient mystical geniuses agree, as shown in the work of Evelyn Underhill. When the master enters the room, the master becomes the servant, and this Lucian passage. So you practice what the teachers taught. And when this thing happens, when the door opens, the light speaks for itself. It takes care of itself. It nurtures you. The roles are reversed. Instead of you being the servant and keeping your heart attentively open, the light enters in and serves you with this feast that flows out. You see what Jesus is saying? He's saying the same thing that masters all over the world say. Right here in the gospel in Luke. When the beloved comes to indwell inside us, the Holy Spirit, the Paraclete, the whatever you want to call it, the beloved, when the beloved comes to dwell inside us, we get seated, we get fed and served by the presence of the beloved itself. Then, just in case the door opens, it takes nothing more than being ready to be rewarded with the presence itself. And indwelling in the here and now as a taste. And yeah, probably the door's going to close, but you'll be left with this taste, this banquet. After all, it's heaven's great delight to give us glimpses of heaven, a meal served, and a respite from life, sitting, eating divine light. This entry, arrival, and indwelling are also the same, the experiencing and the remembering of your original self. Jesus continued with words much related to Thomas 21 and 37 from last week. Understand this. If a homeowner knew exactly when a burglar was coming, he would not permit his house to be broken into. So you also must be ready all the time. For the I am will come when least expected. Don't worry about it because just living is fine. There's no need to strive for this thing and be disappointed. But this thing is who you are. And if you have this longing that creates this striving, that aim toward the oneness, and it will come when least expected. And maybe in this life, but definitely it will come when least expected in death. Because most people can't see beyond the veil. But I tell you, this is true. What you expect at death is but a pea from a pea pod, from a banquet that is beyond imagination. Be attentive. Keep your lamp burning. Stoke your inner fire. Be the fire tender. Every campfire needs a tender. Tend your fire. Stay alert. Put the stick on when it needs it. And what's your reward? Increasingly living internally in heaven while living externally in a beautiful hellscape. And the light gives you enough to share the feast with others. What prize awaits us at death for living here and gathering light inside ourselves to share? Treasures and wealth beyond human mental grasp, beyond brain imagination. Wealth beyond imagination, but within everybody's reach. Everybody is beloved. No one is not beloved. Everyone is the prodigal child. Everyone belongs to the light. All is well, was well, and will be well eternally because of this love that is infinitely greater than the multiverse by a factor of Googleplex. The good news is you don't have to do anything to evolve from here to heaven except die and love along the way before you do. A little bit of kindness shown carries the weight of a gold brick in heaven. Instead, every graduate at death's door who turns to the overwhelming, uncreated light gets a banquet served to them, a feast beyond imagination, prepared and served by the mystery master, by the beloved, by the I am. Thou art that. I hope this exploration helped. Thank you for coming to the third video try this morning. I am flawed. Join us at the top of the hour for Mystic Tea Salon, crowdsourced wisdom, which is only in 2 minutes. Link below. Thanks for your financial backing, for your gifts. I'm here doing all this because you made it possible. You make it possible. So thank you. PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, and Zelle. Book a time with me for a talk, private talk, a session. Never miss out by subscribing to our newsletter at peterpanagore.love. All of that's at peterpanagore.love. Subscribe on YouTube. We're closing in on 12,000. Of course, I'm stepping on my own feet and tripping in the door. But hey, fortunately, I'm kind of a foolish clown. Please subscribe. At least I am to myself. Please subscribe on YouTube. As I'm repeating myself, we have less than 100 to go to get to 12,000. And next week, okay, we're going back to Thomas 2021 B and C, I think it is. We're going to go back to Thomas 21 B and C, something like that. It'll be pre-recorded, and for you Mainers, it'll be pre-recorded because for you Mainers, it's gonna be wicked good, and I'm gonna be live and in person preaching at Wilson Chapel on beautiful Ocean Point in Booth Bay Harbor, Maine, next Sunday live. I've spoken here every single summer. No, that's not true. I've spoken there each summer for nearly 20 years, minus the last 2 years when I refused because I wanted to be here with you, but they found themselves in a pinch and I got a call and they said, Peter, please. And I said, okay. So I'm going to be there live next week at 10 a.m. Ocean Point, Booth Bay Harbor, Wilson Chapel. There's only 90 seats in the place. It seats 100 people. So there you go. It's a tight quarters, but I'll have a pre-recorded next week. Promise. I'm leaving to go see my mom as soon as Mystic Tea Salon ends, and I'll be at her house for a few days. You'll see this on our weekly YouTube channel. And I love our weekly chats and the vibrancy and the engagement that you bring here. And I'm sorry that I'm not able to participate in it this morning, even though I love the chat, because not glad, Peter, human, and we love you still. Thank you, Colleen. Um, but we're going to go right to to Mystic Tea Salon, because it's almost 11 o'clock. So if you have a question or you had a comment in the chat, please bring it to the salon. And I'm sorry that I have to skedaddle, but we're on a schedule at the moment. Now let's see what's going on. I wrote to myself. Good. All right. We'll see you over there. Dumb smartphone, not flawed, Peter. And we still love you. Thank you, Colleen. Yeah. Oy vey, as my friends and neighbors would say. Oy vey. Okay, here we go. I'm going to say fairly well, and I'll meet you at Mystic Tea Salon in a moment. Peace and love, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Amen. Amin. Aho.